Sarah and the rest of the ציפרשטיין family. 25 years have passed since the passing of our dear friend Nossen. 25 years. My acquaintance with the ציפרשטיין family is very ancient. I had the privilege of meeting Rabbi ציפרשטיין in 1950. Yes, 70 years ago, in the summer of 1950, when I was a young man, I came from Jerusalem to New York and signed up to study at the yeshiva of Yitzchok Elchanan, the YU. I got to the yeshiva on the summer vacation of that year, and at that time the yeshiva was actually closed. The dormitory was also closed and empty. Everybody went probably to the Catskill Mountains. And over there, in this empty hall of the yeshiva, I met with somebody with a white beard and a real wonderful smile, Reb ציפרשטיין. When we first met over there, he suggested that we sit down every day for an hour and learn. Learn what? A book called Minchas Chinuch, a sefer that I never opened and knew about while I was studying in Hebron Yeshiva and in Lomza Yeshiva in Petach Tikva. We learned every single day, and during the summer until the end of the summer, when the yeshiva opened up, Rabbi ציפרשטיין disappeared. In 1965, my wife and I and the children went to live in Kew Garden Hills. And there again, I met Rabbi ציפרשטיין, and every Shabbos I went to his house and continued learning the Minchas Chinuch. Over there in the shul, I met Nossen ציפרשטיין, and he invited me to come to his house and attend a Gemara class that he conducted at his house. I came to his house and saw that he was sitting there with 10 people, and it was just a Rosh Yeshiva learning with the students in the yeshiva. He would come to the class all prepared with sforim stacked around him, and every lesson prepared from beginning to end, and it was wonderful to learn, just like a yeshiva. Nossen's house was Beit Vad LaChachomim. I attended this class with pleasure, and Shabbos I used to go to Rabbi Victor and continue learning the Minchas Chinuch. Until one day, Rabbi Victor said it was a little difficult for him to continue, and then I went to Nossen. I said, if you don't mind, let's have you and I another shiur, just you and I, continuing learning the Minchas Chinuch, the learning that I had with your father. He immediately agreed, and since then I attended 2 shiurim in his house, one with those 10 boys Gemara, and the other one alone with Nosen Minchas Chinuch. And this is what we did week after week. And besides learning in his house, every couple of months we used to go for weekends together to Florida, to the Catskills, to Jamaica, and maybe to other islands too. Some of those lessons in Nossen's house I used to write down. An example of one of the shiurim I'm going to tell you now. This was a Gemara shiur in Sukkah, Masechet Sukkah, Daf Kaf Hey, and over there we learned that Oisek b'mitzvah, Potur b'mitzvah. If somebody is performing a mitzvah, he exempt to perform at that time another mitzvah. We had one of the boys who came to learn was Dr. Brett Newman. And when we learned this sugya, he asked Nossen a shaila. He says, I'm a doctor, and I sit in my house and take care of patients, or I go to the hospital and take care of patients, and I just don't have the time to put on tefillin, or to say Krishma, or to daven. Am I really exempt? Because you just taught us that a oisek b'mitzvah, potur b'mitzvah. Nossen's answer was, wait, we're going to Jamaica in a few weeks. When we're there, we're going to discuss your problems. So when we went to Jamaica, he already brought with him all kind of sforim and copies of Gemara, all concerning the problem of oisek b'mitzvah, potur b'mitzvah. And in the shiur that he gave in Jamaica, he said that there is actually 2 views. One is the Shitta of the Tosfos, and the other one is the Shitta from the Ran. According to the Tosfos, he said, according to the Tosfos, if you could perform the 2 mitzvahs at the same time, then you're not potur from doing so, but you could do it later or in the same time. The Ran says, no, if you perform a mitzvah and at that time there's another mitzvah, then you are exempted lechatchila In other words, there is no chiyuv on you bichlal to have another mitzvah, and you don't have to do it at another time or ever. Once you do that, you're busy with a certain mitzvah. At that time, no other mitzvah is chal on you. A big chilik between the Tosfos and Reb and Haran. He said also, Reb Nosson, that the whole idea, according to the Tosfos, is that the tool is of an oinus, and therefore, if it's an oinus, you have to do it later. According to the Ran, it's not an oinus. There is no chiyuv bichlal to do another mitzvah at that time. Then he said to the doctor, in that case, if you go according to the Shita of the Tosfos, you'll have to find time to do it, make a schedule, and if not, make it another time. But the mitzvah, you should perform both mitzvahs. But then Nosson continued and said, just a minute. The Meforshim say that the whole idea of a oisek b'mitzvah, it is if you do the mitzvah l'shem mitzvah. But if you do the mitzvah, like you write a Sefer Torah, and for that you receive money, this is not considered oisek b'mitzvah, and therefore you're not betul. And then he looks at the doctor, he says, listen, when you treat the patients, you get money for it. Of course. So the whole idea of oisek b'mitzvah does not apply to you at all. That's a sample of what we learned between meals while we are on vacation in Jamaica. And that is the way Reb Nosson was conducting his shiurim. Every one of the students of Nosson was like a part of the family. Everyone who came to learn with Nosson, he made sure that if he has any problem, he will try to solve it and do everything to help him. A part of the family meant that for every holiday, like Hanukkah or Purim, he invited the students with their wives to his house and celebrated the Yom Tov together. This like one family. And that's the way we were friends with Nosson and Sarah, my wife, and me, and Sarah and Nosson for many years. Real good friends. Good friends meaning that his presence, or the lack of his presence today, is felt, and every time when I sit and learn Minchas Chinuch, I remember him. What does it mean? As soon as we came to Israel, I found somebody in Beit Vegan and asked him to learn with him Minchas Chinuch, and every week and every Sunday night I go to his house and continued learning the Minchas Chinuch. We finished the whole book of Minchas Chinuch already, and now we are going over it again. And every time when I learn the Minchas Chinuch, I say, just a minute, what would Nosson say to this particular paragraph? And that's the way I feel, And that's the way I do. And as long as I live, I'll continue learning Minchas Chinuch and thinking of Nossen. Yehi Zichro Baruch.